Carl Rodriguez is the GMologist, GM extraordinaire, the GMologist.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Geomologist Presents I Owe You One. In fact, I owe you a bonus episode. So today I'm going to talk about sort of an after-action report for Big Texas Comic-Con. I was able to run 3 games there. I played in a game, and my buddy BJ Boyd of the Arcane Alienist, who you've seen many a time, either collab on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, running his games, playing in mine, was there as well, and he got to run a couple games. Maybe he'll call in and talk about them. Maybe he'll talk about them on his podcast. But I got to play in his game that he ran of Coyote and Crow, which was really great. One of my buddies who plays in my home group got to run a game, and one of my friends who also has played in some of my games on the YouTube came in and ran a game too. We had Sean and Robin Bircher from Pinnacle. They do a lot of Savage World stuff, come and run a couple games of Savage Worlds, which were really well received. Anyway, I'll get to the specifics, but I also wanted to catch you up on some of the games I've run and just talk about sort of rules decisions and what has gone on in the games. And these include Traveler, Twilight 2000, our Hyperborea game, and our Bloodlords game. I also got to run a Halloween game, so check out our YouTube channel on Halloween if you're into actual play. We ran a Halloween game called The Wild Hunt, a Savage World short take, which was really fun, kind of modern supernatural interaction. I don't know if it was horrific, more than tense or whatever. Tense is probably the best word. Suspenseful, action-packed, because it is Savage Worlds. So I'll talk about that as well. I really have enjoyed these games. Like I said, for the various games, Traveler, I got to kind of run a random encounter adventure one-shot, which was kind of cool. So I'm giving you like hints before I get into the games. For Twilight 2000, we used some aerial combat rules. Well, air versus ground. And I'll tell you how that went and what the kind of the rulings I made in that game. Hyperborea, we had a little adventure in a ruin, temple underground. And then for Bloodlords, we had an adventure that took place like on a campus. It seemed the shenanigans that took place made it seem very like Warhammer Fantasy, grim and perilous and grim and silly, or funny, what have you. And then definitely I'll talk about the Halloween game and the different things that we did. So sit tight. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the Geomologist Presents. Okay, let's talk about Big Texas Comic-Con, BTCC. It was a couple weeks ago, kind of middle of the month, and my wife Amy runs the Crush Foundation with a lot of our helps, and we had a table there, and they let us, the organizers let us run games there just to be like a test to see if games were of interest. They definitely were of interest. It was pretty fun. Unfortunately, they didn't really want us to, I guess because maybe again it was a test and they didn't want us to do Warhorn or tabletop events, but I think we convinced them that we should use tabletop events, and there's ways that you can. Their concern was that people were going to sign up ahead of time, and then why go, and then does that mean they're going to try to sneak in just to play the game? So we got to figure ways around that, and there's definitely ways you can set that up. But I think it's interesting, and I feel like we can, earn donations from it, as well as having our table and the auctions and silent auctions and donations that we have, and merchandise for Crush Foundation. We have done in the past, and it's worked in a small scale, where we had like re-roll cards, something similar they do at ChupaCavaCon, where you can donate, and then they give you like a stack of reroll cards. Some games have meta currency already, so ultimately it's up to the GMs to honor them, but usually they do. No big deal. Give them extra bennies, whatever. It's all fun. It's a convention game. I've never heard anyone complain about having the use of bennies in a game or a GM complain about them, really. So anyway, the first game I ran was a Friday night game. We try to get the word up because where you're at, it's hard to get the word up from before. We definitely need to figure that out a little bit more. And again, if we had like tabletop events or whatever, that the interest would spread. I think there'd be more people, and we could do something like fill something that North Texas does is fill ahead of time some of the spots, and then have the rest of the spots open. You leave a spot perma open, for people who wander by so they can play. That's the idea. And then also have like an open tables for people who want to come up and play Magic or just bring their games and play and sit down whatever. Sure, it might take away from, I don't know. I don't think it really takes away from the merch. It's a place for people to sit down. They definitely go there with a budget in mind and don't go crazy. So they're going to go buy what they're going to go buy. And then they just kind of want to sit down and hang out. So I think that would work really well. So the first game I ran was for Dungeons & Dragons 2024. And I think I just wanted to do that just in case it would be popular. And I thought maybe I'd reprize it if there was any interest, but there was. And I had a good table. There's some people who were in line to wait for the panels. The panel discussions of people that they, actors that they invited to the show, actors in the genre. And I think it's a Friday night they had Cobra Kai, actors from Cobra Kai. And some people came in and go, I never played before. So played a little bit, and it was pretty cool. So the game I played was Uni and the Hunt for the Lost Horn. So do you remember the 1980s Dungeons & Dragons cartoon animated television series that aired from 1983 to 1985? Man, I guess I got to figure out how many episodes that would be. Seems like there could be a lot of episodes for running for 3 seasons, right? Yeah, I'll go look that up after I describe this. So, Uni's in trouble. Spellcaster Kellic has stolen Uni's horn to power Fel ritual. The characters won't stop Kellic. Uni's horn will be destroyed forever in Kellic's quest for power. So Kellic was like the Avengers henchman, and it was also designed for 4 to 6 fourth level characters, and they had the animated series protagonists Bobby, Diana, Eric, Hank, Presto, and Sheila, all presented into young adulthood. So Bobby's a big BP barbarian, like high school football player, etc. So it's really good. There's a 7th character sheet. Nico was a cleric who is from a different set of adventurers who tumbled into the D&D multiverse. So players choose a character, and it's really fun. It's really neat that they were each given a powerful magic item, and then they had those powerful magic items like as part of their equipment. I thought it was really neat. It was really fun to run. It's definitely worth checking out. It's on D&D Beyond. I printed out a PDF of it, so I was able to run it. So Uni's all grown up. Basically, it's a big fight at the beginning, which is very nice. It kind of shows the bounded accuracy design of D&D 5th edition and its philosophies. You can have a whole bunch of lower level combatants, but they still present a challenge, right? So, and then a couple of big ones in there too. And then they go into this other like mini dungeon with 5 little encounter areas, 5th being like a big battle at the end. They can be done with combat or diplomacy, social interaction. I guess not really diplomacy, but social interaction, which could be diplomacy, but also could be intimidation, coercion, whatever. So yeah, I thought it was really good. The last fight was really nice, and one player got into position, got to use their powers. It's really good, really good, and it's really cool when the players can pick up. They look at the character, they pick things up, and it's a pretty intuitive game. I might use the word intuitive a few times here. So anyway, there you go. That is that adventure. Go check it out. I think it's pretty good. You can easily adapt it. Hey, how fun would it be to just play that version with fourth level characters in a 1980s D&D version? That would be kind of cool too. All right. Yeah, so the next game that I ran, but let me go look up that fact for you. So the animated series, like I said, it ran from 1983 to 1985, had 27 episodes. I don't think I saw them all, so I wonder if there's a way to get this. Yeah, it's quite a few. 13 in the first season. Looks like only in the second season, 8, and then in the last season, I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 in the last season. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 in the second season. So okay, maybe I did see them all. So 13. I guess it was a challenge to make. It's interesting. I guess there was an unfinished finale called Requiem, and the script was released. But yeah, there was a fan-made finale appeared in 2022. So there you go. That's kind of cool. Wow, Willie Ames did Hank the Ranger. That's someone whose name I recognize. Peter Cullen as Venger. Wow. Don Most, Adam Rich. Don Most, Eric, Adam Rich, Presto. Katie Lee. Sheila. Sidney Miller was the DM. Tanya Gale Smith, Diana, and Teddy Field III was Bobby. So there you go. Pretty cool. Fun stuff. All right. And actually, Tanya Gale Smith, Diana, was nominated for the Outstanding Young Actress in Animation Voiceover in 1984-85 Youth and Film Awards. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Wow. More than I thought I would talk about that one. But hey, on to the next. And I ran... yeah, I'm not going to talk... So I'm going to talk about like my impressions of the games. I'm not going to go into detail about the games because you could find them. Don't want to spoil them so much. So the next game I ran, the Star Trek 2nd Edition Quick Start. I really enjoyed it. Definitely very Star Trek, more on the exploration and investigation and problem-solving side. It definitely is a introductory quick start type adventure where it kind of, in a way, leads the crew of the vessels, USS Challenger, and is it USS? No. Federation ship Challenger. What do they call? What is the designation in Star Trek? Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, I guess it is USS, and it is United Starship or United Spaceship, not United States ship. As USS, I guess, but I would understand it. Of course, it's not United States ship because it's in the far future and it's a Federation. So yes, from the USS Enterprise to the USS Cerritos, it is United Spaceship, which actually can be heard in the original series, like In the Cage and Pattern of the Force. But United Starship has also been used in Court Martial, so in that episode. So pretty cool. I did enjoy it. I will say I do enjoy the 2nd edition iteration of the Star Trek Adventures game. I do like it. So they took out the effect dice. So you just roll a D20 series of D20s, and you go with it. Just one single roll. Momentum is used to mitigate stress and injury, and you don't need to roll effect dice. The damage on things from ship's phasers to Orion disruptors is static, and you mitigate the damage as a player character using the stress mechanic and momentum. So that's pretty interesting. Right? There's just a single dice roll, and that resolves the round of the action. So I really liked that. I really enjoyed it. So the crew had 3 players. They did really well. I think you could have up to 6 players that can play. So one played the captain, one played the XO, and one played the doctor. So I think it was the XO, maybe the security officer. Anyway, well, it seemed like it was the XO slash chief engineer. So it was a good range of skills, and they really got it. I mean, Odysseus is definitely, again, it's a game where the GM does and has the opportunity to prompt the players a lot to employ their meta currency. It's a meta currency driven game using the momentum mechanics. Momentum, and I guess it's threat mechanics. Threat is what the GMs have. So I guess you could just roll it into one and call it action points like they do in Fallout. But it's very similar, again, the injury mitigation to Dreams and Machines, which I've run on the YouTube channel and enjoyed as actually as an award-winning performance, if you want to call it that. Motivius did pick it and like it in their little contest that they had. And I do like Dreams and Machines. I really would like to get back into it. I just haven't. I have I got the quick start, which is what I ran, and I have the starter set. Yes, I have and the starter set, which is a nice couple. An adventure, another quick start adventure that's different from the quick start, and then like a little mini campaign. And then there's like the main book, I think it's the Players and Game Master's Guide, and then there is now a campaign book coming out, which is pretty nice to round out the little game system. And really, I think it's something that you could do as your own kind of world, sandboxing kind of world, given those tools expand from there. So, because it's a big world, and they're probably not going to develop a lot of it. So it seems, depending on how popular the series is. Anyway, back to Star Trek. I think Star Trek Adventures, I think the second edition, looking forward to it. Can't wait till it comes out. And can't wait for more offerings. Some of my players, my regular players, have been buzzing in my ear to run something like that, to run Star Trek Adventures, maybe a lower decks type Star Trek Adventures. So we'll see. Maybe in the future. And finally, the last game I ran was the Marvel Multiverse game, and I ran the first sort of episode of I think it's like a four chapters in this Deadpool does the Marvel Universe adventure, and it's kind of like Deadpool Heroes for Hire, Mercs for Hire. He does where he calls a bunch of mercs to do like a little adventure for him, and that's what they do. So I really do like the Marvel Multiverse game. It definitely feels Marvel or super heroic. It feels heroic, super heroic actually. The character who played She-Hulk Lyra was able to kind of do like Hulk smash and topple over a big black SUV and send the bad guys with guns flying. They're in this warehouse full of cargo containers, and a Hitmonkey's jumping around. Paladin is moving through the maze and shooting down drones. The Valkyrie is tossing her spear. I mean, She-Hulk got to throw a bad guy like a rag doll against the bad guy's weapon. It was really nice. So, and the bad guy went down with a nice, fantastic success. 616 exactly, but an M success on the dice. That was a hit. So it was very satisfying. So those were very satisfying games. I also got to play in a game I really like, and I'm really trying to encourage BJ Boyd, the Arcane Alienist, to get it back to the table, and that is Coyote and Crow. I really like that game. It's just a fun, cool sci-fi game, and I really enjoy it. I just like the way I like the D12, full of D12 mechanics. I think one of the neat innovations of it is that a 1. I feel like Shadowrun used to do this. Maybe I'm wrong there, but a 1 takes away the number of successes, which I think is kind of neat. little mechanic. So maybe one iteration of Shadowrun did that, or maybe it's a mean optional rule. I don't know. Maybe someone can answer that. Anyway, great stuff. So I'll take a pause here, and then I'll get to the games that I've been running. So the games that I've been running, and I think this is correct. I haven't run a lot. There's some games that just did not make. We're going through a transition in our Kingmaker campaign. I just don't think we put it on hold, but I don't know if it's going to come back. Right. So yeah. So in lieu of that, we actually made characters today for a Call of Cthulhu campaign, and we're going to run Corsairs of Cthulhu by New Comet Games. I don't know if we'll record it to put on YouTube. I can't say stream yet. We haven't gotten the critical mass of followers to do that, but hopefully soon. We've done pretty well so far. In any case, I've ran Traveler, Twilight 2000, Hyperborea, Bloodlords, and some Savage Worlds. So I think because some games just hadn't made in the last 2 weeks. So I guess it's still pretty good. Just people coming back from out of town or going out of town or whatever, and just our home group where we play Blood Wars, and I played Warhammer Fantasy, and Star Wars is just had stuff going on. So this Thursday is Halloween, so several of the people are out for Halloween. I'm not particularly. I don't go out on Halloween, or I'm particularly crazy about Halloween. I don't know if I've ever been. I don't know. Not my favorite holiday, honestly, is Thanksgiving. I like to sit down and eat. All right. Anyway, so Traveler was really cool. My players I had said, hey, you want to get to the next big stop, and I just montage it through. Just you don't have to go through all the jump cycles or whatever. And they're like, no, that's the favorite part. Is like the funnest adventures, I guess they say, is when we kind of randomly come upon some opportunity. So we did, and it was a cool opportunity. It was a ship. There were some ship encounters in one of the jumps, and the last. We played Traveler a couple times, so the last jump was into a system, and there was a military ship. What's a military ship doing? It's escorting someone who they're escorting, a strange ship. So I just said, "Oh man, it's perfect." The ship that they're on, the Minstrel, it's a Narsika fast liner kind of luxury ship, pretty big kind of ship actually, and some 800 ton vessel, and it's like a conference yacht basically. So anyway, they come upon this destroyer escort, and I think I called it the ISS Cyclops, was escorting an Oslan vessel that I called the Dragon's Tooth. I created an Oslan name for it, but it's in Troch, so it's got lots of syllables that the vowels are kind of tough to pronounce sometimes. So yeah, it was, and then I had done that at the end of the session. I'm like, oh man, I gotta do this. So I for the following session, I wrote up the adventure, and it turned out that the Oslan ship had misjumped. Their jump drive had messed up, and they're like, how are we gonna get this fixed? And they came up crew. It was, I guess, more like a Star Trek adventure, but it was interesting. The crews aren't huge on these ships. You'd think they might be 1,000 ton and then another 800 or 600 ton vessel for the Oslan ship, and they had lost their partnership, which was hauling spice from a world here in the Spinward Marches. So not as far as the players thought was the Oslan displaced, but still displaced because of a jump event. Although not, I mean, they had a jump mishap too, but it was like a strange jump mishap where they instantaneously traveled, like almost like they hit a wormhole, which was interesting. So maybe that'll come back and we'll explore that in the future in the Travelerverse. In any case, they had to translate. They met the Aslan. They got names for a lot of the Aslan. It was just really fun, more interaction. Nothing broke out. There was no tension. Everyone was pretty cool. Although they're kind of what could have been some tension or even a space battle, as some of the Aslan had beat to quarters and were getting ready, were up on board their fighters, and the players did a great job of diffusing the tension, helping the Navy ship to diffuse the tension. One of the players on board speaking Trok and being able to interact, and they even said, since they had a luxury conference ship, they said, "Hey, come on board as a neutral location, and we can hash out any grievances. We can figure out a way to solve, to fix your jump drive." And yeah, they did. It was pretty neat. So they had like a peace conference on board their vessel, which was nice. And then, as it turns out, when we finished the adventure, and we had another strange event happen in Jump, and I just kind of ran with it. This wasn't the original intention, but first the life support was kind of acting strange, and then there's another strange anomaly, and then I decided that the players had a stowaway. So one of the an Aslan male who was an outcast, had decided to jump ship and was now traveling with the players. They might keep him on board. So we'll see what happens there and what ramifications that may have. But hey, they got some. I mean, I guess since they're Knights of the Realm, they're Knights of the March. They gotta have the cool big Aslan bodyguard, I guess, right? So that's really neat. So that was really fun to do because it all came from random encounter, and that's one of the beauties of Traveler. So in Twilight 2000, it's definitely become like the main play. The Free Krakow Coalition is back in Krakow. They've been really trying to clean Krakow up, make sure that no one's going to starve during the winter. Making sure that food is harvested in the big city, making sure that the banditry, the mob rule is gone. They've cleaned up a lot of that. Make sure that these gangs aren't roaming the streets and intimidating people. And they've kind of dealt with that. And then they hear that there are kind of two forces that might be threatening Krakow. One to the north, the remnants of the Soviet 20th Army, which is apparently close to 3,000 strong, which is about half the size on paper or half the size of what the Krakow Ormo and army remnants that are there is on paper. But what the Soviet 20th doesn't have is the sort of special reconnaissance battalion of the Free Krakow Coalition, some near 400 strong. Anyway, so they did one part of the Free Krakow Coalition did go to the east, where there were threats of a marauder band coming to cause some problems, and that one only numbered about 200. So they took some of their people. They had ambushed them previously. They pushed forward, which I thought was great. You always got to push forward. They located through talking to the locals and other intel where the marauder camp was. They ran into some other scouts holding prisoners in another town, and they did some nice recon on the situation. Meanwhile, in communicating back to Krakow, they had a surprise weapon that they wanted to test against the marauders, and they had towed a Soviet Yak, I think Yak, not the U-35, maybe like a 15 or 151. One of those training prop planes, but still pretty good plane, and is actually used in training exercise. They actually can load rocket pods and bombs on it, and they do use them actually, or they have used them in the past. So and they're currently in use somewhere over there. Um, in any case, they had one player just did an amazing job of recon. He got that like super crit. So they're usually how I work. This is what I want to talk about really in Twilight 2000 is how I work, the way the mechanics work. You propose to me what you want to accomplish. Okay, with a success you can accomplish that. But if you roll better than that, then yeah, it becomes a yes and, right? So guy wanted to player wanted to get his character in place to be in close range from a sort of sniping position, of course, to view the be the forward observer for the bombing run that was going to happen, but also to get close enough to be able to be in effective range of the crossbow. You keep silent. He's a stealthy recon guy. He had backup with the truck. They avoided patrols. Funny, they were a little delayed because they, ran into some problems crossing one of the muddy rivers in the area, muddy creeks really in the area, but they got it fixed real quickly. Anyway, so he rolled like 4 successes. So then I said, okay, you can get closer, right? You can get to within striking distance. You see where the tank, the Marauders had the scary thing about the Marauders, they did have a T-72 tank. So you get close to the tank, able to get close to the tank. I gave him some options. He said, no. What else can I do? So I said, you can get into the tank and maybe try to steal it. His character had done this before. So he's like, okay, I'll get into the tank. It happened to be open. And then I rolled randomly to see if there was someone in there, like crew in there. There's a crewman in there. Could have been several. And then he said, okay, I got one more success. What can I do with that? I guess I goes, well, you can get a bonus dice when you sneak up on him if you're going to take him out. So he did and stole the tank. Had a surprise attack on these Marauders, caused a lot of confusion. Was able to forward observe from the tank and get some eyes on the ground for the bombing run. He said, please do not bomb the tank because I'm in it. The bomb took out some APCs, some other trucks. He fired. He was able to get into the gun of the tank. These things have autoloaders. He couldn't drive it and fire it, of course, but got into the gun of the tank and as part of the surprise attack, blasted the command structure, like lean-to, adjacent to this old church there, and took out some of the leadership, and then took off and had his fellow recon guys kind of meet him in their technical truck. Won the day, just overwhelmed the Marauders. Took out a lot of them and sent the rest of them running. Meanwhile, the other group kind of moved into the town, took that position, and then moved forward to clean up any stragglers that were fleeing from the bombing run. So it was a very successful operation. Kudos to the players for thinking of it and made the rolls. And it's a crazy and far-fetched, could go south many times, but it went incredibly smoothly. And now on to the next objective. And I'm feeling to a break point where we can do almost like a winter phase in this campaign. I think the 20th operation, it might be a little more dangerous, so we'll see what they're going to do. I think they need to make sure that no one knows about their surprise weapons. They have access to another one of these yaks. They have a helicopter that they brought down from the Warsaw area, and also Krakow has a helicopter, and the players now moving in and cleaning up Krakow have gained the I don't know if it's notoriety, but at least command the ear of some of the leadership in Krakow. So like, hey, this other helicopter, maybe we can use that in tandem. But fortunately, they're not warmongers. The player characters aren't, and they are looking for a bigger piece, restart technology, get some stability in the region. The only country they've heard is somewhat stable and not full of marauders and destroyed infrastructure is France and parts of southern Germany. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, yeah, that was those two games, are sort of sci-fi speculative fiction games. And now I guess I get to talk about our fantasy games. So yeah, I will try to briefen this up. I feel like I only got 10 minutes left to tell you. But Hyperborea is going great. I like this sort of drop in, drop out, though we do have regular players. It is kind of like this a West Marches style where you go out to the wilderness, do what you can do, come back to the main town. They have a boat, so they have more range now, which is very nice. And they're getting up to a good level. I've given them hints to get off the island if they want to. So I don't know if they will pursue them, but they can go in different directions. I have received and I really like the new adventures, this trio of adventures that Northwind Games did as a Kickstarter recently. And I just got them in the box behind me. You'll get some unboxing YouTube videos soon, for sure. But it's more interesting to do unboxings when you show the product on the YouTube instead of just right. Anyway, Hyperborea has been going really well. I enjoyed it. The characters, like I said, are getting to third, a nice sweet spot, third through third and fourth level. So fifth is the big jump where you go from you need 10,000 experience points from having less than 10,000 for the first several levels. So yeah, it's a big one. But they're getting more powerful, so on to bigger and better things. And hopefully eventually they get to the dungeon crawl I have planned on the setup on the island that they're on. But yeah, so far they're just exploring the wilderness and having events. So there you go, Hyperborea going strong, I think. Like I said, a good cadre of players. We do that bi-weekly on Wednesdays. And hey, it's drop in, drop out. If you're interested, shoot me a line. For sure we can get you in. You will start at first level, but you can hope to gain XP very quickly because you have characters that are third and fourth level in your group. Anyway, that's the law. That's the rule of the drop in, drop out. Finally, Bloodlords has been going well too. We had taken not a break from it, but just the sessions hadn't met. But we finally got back together, and they're in the last chapter of the second book, Graveclaw, and it was kind of like the previous chapter was like an infiltration into this mining town, industrial town, and this one is like an infiltration, but more like I don't know. It's definitely more intrigue laden, it seems, or at least intrigue laden initially to build up to a fight, most likely with their last adversary in the book, the final hag of the coven that's been trying to do something nefarious to the living population in Geb, and they're making allies and gaining notoriety. The player characters are, but this last session was just kind of like, it definitely reminded us of like a Warhammer Fantasy hijinks, where a couple players go to the lecture of the person they know they gotta take down and just heckle them, but heckle them heckle them with science and questioning, and while they're trying to do this lecture, and meanwhile the other players, the sneaky non-intellectual types, they go and they case this person that they want to take out. They want to case their office and run into traps and tricks and a guardian, and they do great and they defeat all that, and I'm definitely rewarding them for their thoroughness. But then in the last instance, they even caused like a small explosion, so it was a big mess, and unfortunately they're framing this one poor student for it or something, or maybe I don't think they end up framing the student for it. They actually spoofed a student who saw them leaving the office and said, "Oh, it was those people, pranksters." So again, it was like Warhammer Fantasy hijinks. So that's what's going on. Finally, I was able to run a game that we're gonna publish on Halloween. We ran it this week, and we're going to publish it on Halloween, which is now. Happy Halloween. It's after midnight. I'm going to publish this almost as soon as I finish recording, and do all the show notes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then Friday I'll get you a conclusion to Rocktober, because it'll be November. So yes, it's like a bonus episode. Anyway, I did run a really cool Savage Worlds adventure, and it's the Wild Hunt. It's a short, like a short Savage Tale or something like quick. What do they call them? I can't remember what they call them. Not a short take, but it's even smaller than that. Test drive. They call it a test drive, and it was really fun. And I thought I thought the players had so much fun that they're like, man, I want to play that character again. So I think they maybe will do some sort of like modern supernatural Savage Worlds horror thing with these misfits, which I thought was pretty good. I think it's a pretty nice little adventure. It's like a chase through the woods, really, some fights, and the players, they were resourceful. They were pretty good. They were lucky. One of the NPCs was taken out, so that leaves, and then one of the NPCs was so shooken up so shaken that they want to go home now. They're running away from home, and now they want to go home. So we'll see what the other players want to do with the characters that I played. I thought it was great, and my usual crew have my wife Amy, one of my buddies from the home group, Vince, and then BJ Boy, the Arcane Alienist, and Arlen Walker of Live from Pelham's Wasteland were the stars. So great stuff for them. Can't wait till you guys check it out. I think it turned out really nice. So thank you so much for listening. This has been the Geomologist Presents, a little sort of gaming catch-up journey in this bonus episode. So yeah, shoot me a line. Tell me what you think. How do you run sort of super crits in your game? If you have super crits in your game, how do you run metacurrency? It's a good question. And have you ever had that really cool adventure that just happened through happenstance? We had one of those in Kevin Madison's Borderlands run, where this Hilfer event, and that was like one of the best. We talked about it when it kind of as a year in review, and I think the Hilfer operation was just fantastic. One of my favorite parts of the Borderland run, and it was like a random event. I think I'm pretty sure it's a random event. It wasn't part of the main storyline, that's for sure. We even revisited it like in a war story. So yeah, I got to fight a Fang Dragon, Space Fang Dragon, or Planetary Fang Dragon. Anyway, cool stuff. Check that out too. It's on Kevin Madison's YouTube channel, Dungeon Musings. Check out the Borderland run and our ongoing Traveler games. I was able to play in that too during this time period. Anyway, thanks for listening. Shoot me a line, geomologist@gmail.com. Drop me a message through the Discord. If you can, I have a SpeakPipe account that I leave the link for to the show notes. Thank you so much to the intro and outro music from our mysterious benefactor. The transition music is from Looperman, which is a site that you subscribe to that gives you access to tests of various musicians that they provide for free with the subscription and donation. So anyway, that's all for now. Good night and good rolling.